Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the contents in this channel. I'm wishing all my subscribers a pleasant weekend. This is the case of the Idaho. May the victims rest in peace. Condolence to the families. Today I'd like to revisit Bethany Funk's interview with the detective. Bethany Funk is really important because she has exculpatory evidence. We all are aware of that. And the location of where it's important, in my opinion, to stick with the facts, especially of Bethany Funk's room location. Because we all know from the very beginning of this case, Bethany Funk lives on the left-hand side, right under the living room. You can go back to every YouTube creator, his channel, and check. And there was a purpose. I've been digging and researching into this, but I think I caught a break today. I've always waited patiently for Bethany Funk's interview more than DM. I wish it was longer, more details, but we just have to take what we get, I guess. But important information came out of BF's interview. That's why I want to revisit it today. When I analyze things, I love analyzing pictures, backgrounds, because they say a lot, in my opinion. Sometimes backgrounds means nothing, but sometimes it can mean a lot. Bethany Funk and MADDIE went to the same sorority. Was it Pi Beta Phi? And they were big and little sister. I want to focus on MADDIE and Bethany Funk's relationship in this clip, because I believe it was a very genuine relationship besides MADDIE and Kaylee. I believe Zana was friends with everyone, but I find DM to be the odd one out of the crowd. Just my opinion. This is all my thoughts, my speculations, and my opinions. Even at the memorial, 2.5 weeks after the unalivings, although Bethany and DM did not attend, I wonder if they had injuries or something that they were healing for. Or was it the FBI who told them to stay away from the memorial? But for whatever reason they did not come, their speeches both seemed like it was staged, like it was written for them. But in fact, Bethany Funk's memorial looked more genuine. The speech she gave, especially for Maddie. She said Maddie was my big sister that I never had. So they had a lovely relationship. The reason I'm talking about the relationship is, for me, it's very important. For the last 2 months, since these reports have been coming out, and since we saw the 1122 King Rome body cam, I've always stated in almost every clip, I've spoke and discussed about Maddie and DM. What happened that night? Bethany Funk says clearly to the detective that between 2:30 to 3 a.m., Maddie came and asked her if she saw. Actually, they both went out to take Murphy out. She said she was out for barely 10 seconds. That's Bethany Funk. She came back to her room. She watched an episode, 30 minutes or so, of some show. The officer asks her, what time was that? She says that was between 2:30 to 3. Then she said while she was watching the show, Maddie came knocking at her door and asked BF if she saw Murphy. So I've always said from the very beginning, even actually almost 3 years ago, I've always wondered if this had something to do with the dog because of the coat, Maddie's coat, allegedly, we're not for sure if that's her coat, that was found behind the fire extension. If you remember, Alivira said from the very beginning, and I've shown you that interview many times, where she said, my sisters did everything right. They let the dog, they took her Uber, private share driver. They came home, they locked their doors, then they went out, they let Murphy out to potty. They came back in and locked their doors, and then this still happened. That's exactly what Alivira said. So from the very beginning, I knew it was something to do with Murphy. But now that we have Bethany Funk clearly saying that Maddie was searching for Murphy, the dog, my question was always, where was Kaylee when Maddie and BF was discussing about Murphy? Was Murphy lost? Did Murphy run away? Was Murphy lured? Where was Kaylee? Because Kaylee wasn't asleep. According to DM, DM knows the difference between Kaylee and Zana. She knows their voices. She lives with them. So we can't put things into her mouth. That wouldn't be fair. And she said she heard Kaylee. She didn't say Zana. Going up the steps with Murphy, and then Kaylee said, there's somebody here, and she came back running down the steps. So how did Kaylee land in the 3rd floor of Maddie's bed? She didn't even land in her own bed. Was somebody waiting inside this house for these victims? I'm just shocked. The fact that the surviving roommates did not find any emergency to call 911. and half of the university students knew about the quadruples by 10 a.m. The sororities and fraternities knew. Jack Showalter said it in his police report that he heard it in a Snapchat, a group Snapchat. And why is Dylan and BF lying? BF said she went to sleep after that. She means after 3 a.m. Why is she lying? Because the transcripts show that she and DM were texting each other. They were talking about Zana wearing all black, DM made it seem like she ran to Bethany Funky's room immediately after she saw Koberger. But that's a lie. I just clocked on a huge lie here. In the transcript text, the DM and BF were sending each other. If I recall correctly, DM told BF the description of the person she saw. She said he had a mask. Do you remember that? So why are they lying? She told DM told BF over text message. So why is DM saying that she ran after she saw Koberger? She ran to BF's room. Were they texting each other in Bethany Funky's room? These people are rummaging upstairs and they thought it was the Sigma Chi fraternity boys. I find it strange about this story, this narrative about Murphy being missing or lost or temporarily lost because Maddie was searching for him. Where was Kaylee when Maddie was asking Bethany Funk if she saw Murphy? Was Kaylee already unalived? These people changed the timeline. In the beginning, the timeline was between 3 to 4 a.m. Then it was changed from 6 past 4 to 4:20, I believe, or 4:25. Because I believe the white Hyundai Elantra came there for some other purpose. We're not even sure if it's a Hyundai Elantra. We just see a white Sierra. And for me, the windows look too tinted to be Koberger's. The one that came looked like the one that passed the gas station at 3:25. And that had tinted windows and it had occupants. You could see figures of 2 people inside the car, or 3 people. Somebody was sitting at the back seat, somebody was driving the car, and somebody was sitting in the front seat. If you go back to the Hyundai Elantra that was seen at the gas station and look properly into that white Hyundai Elantra. It was a 2013 model, and it didn't have clear windows. It had tinted windows. You could see there was more than one person sitting inside the car. Even if that was BK or Jack D, it was more than one person. Why was DM and BF texting each other if they were in the same room? I can understand to keep it down so that the suspect wouldn't hear the voices and unalive them too. That I can understand. But something doesn't make sense here. It's like the text messages that they were sending each other, the transcripts, were invisible. It literally is invisible. They ain't discussing that. They're just focusing on the affidavit. The affidavit doesn't make sense compared to the interviews, especially what DM is saying. It seems like the cops are filling in the blanks with them. This is just all my opinion. Let me know what y'all think. I just find it strange that BF and DM were texting each other. Was one of them possibly away from 1122 King Road? Do you remember I told you all that at least 3 months ago, somebody wrote me a comment, allegedly from Moscow, Idaho College, University, and they said that they saw BF running undressed outside the house. This is according to what the person said. The person said, I looked out of my window and she was yelling. And she said, he has a large KNIFE. And he said, I thought she was joking, so I said, good for you. And he said she ran, like away from the house. And he said, then next day I heard about what happened and I feel bad. That is one comment you got, and another one was more concerning, trigger warning. So somebody told me that I'm from the sorority, and DM called our sorority in the morning. She said 3 a.m. Or was it 3:30? One of the two. And she said she was licking a KNIFE. And she said we saw her on FaceTime. So this is according to 2 separate students. Anyone could be pretending they're from the college. Anyone could be making up stories, but this looked very detailed, especially the one from the sorority sister. Felt like she was trying to tell me you're in the right direction. Like, this is the fraternities and sororities who were involved. How come we never got to see any picture, any photos of Ethan and Zana that night? How come we never got to see any photos of DM and Queen Kelly that night? This woman was uploading pictures at 3:33 that morning, 3:33. I didn't see much empathy, although their faces were blurred at the 911 call. And Bethany Funk was asked, where do y'all take Murphy usually? She said Kaylee takes Murphy outside the sliding door, the backyard. So it's not like Kaylee walks through Taylor Avenue a lot. So I'm sure while Maddie was out with Murphy, somebody could have attacked her. And something could have already have happened to Kaylee. The reason I say that is because Bethany Funk helped me. Bethany Funk helped me with the missing piece, according to my research. I always believe it had something to do with Murphy when they took Murphy out to party, somebody attacked Kaylee and Maddie, or maybe just Maddie, because for some reason Bethany Funk doesn't mention Kaylee. Let's not forget, Maddie came knocking at Bethany Funk's door asking her if she saw Murphy. And Maddie had Murphy outside. Who lured Murphy? Was it Jack D? Could it have been Adam and Jack D? Allegedly. Could it have been BK? Could it have been Shawalter? Could it have been Hunter? Or is BF lying? BF and DM are lying about the text messages they were sending each other. The text messages and the interviews they did with the detectives contradict each other. There's something not right. Both BF and DM saw Zan on the phone, and they didn't do anything. Was Bethany Funk even home that night? She was so close to Maddie. She said Maddie was like my older sister, my big sister. Not only from the sorority, but she said a big sister I never had. She went. She's the only person who saw Maddie last, besides Shawalter. She doesn't mention Kaylee. And this is interesting. BF said that she heard footsteps. Sorry, not footsteps. She heard something that sounded like somebody accidentally running through a table in the kitchen. Let's not forget, she lives right underneath the living room. And she said we're used to spending a lot of time in the kitchen. So I thought it was him. So the question is, was that the time they were fighting for their lives? Let's not forget, this is all happening between 2:30 to 3 a.m. and a bit after 3, according to BF. Because she said Maddie and herself went out for a walk. And the detective asked her what time, and she said between 2:30 to 3. What do we hear at 2:55? A female yelling, "Stop it! Stop!" Did somebody grab Maddie? And where was Kaylee? DM is trying to say that the suspect saw her and he just walked away, passed by her room, passed through the kitchen, and left. This doesn't make sense. Why would Kohlberger leave a witness alive so that the witness can testify against him? He knows this is the DP state. So Bethany Funk could hear somebody in the kitchen. She said it sounded like somebody crashed on the table accidentally. Why wouldn't you go and check? Why wouldn't you call Zana, Kaylee, Maddie, DM? Why wouldn't you call your friends, your roommates, and check if it wasn't a bad accident? Something is not right with these two roommates. I'm not saying they're guilty. I'm not saying furthermore anyone's guilty. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. If DM and BF could hear so much things going on inside the house, and they saw things, they saw something that looked like a firework even outside the house, then I'm sure they heard each and everything that was going on inside. They both were told to lock themselves up at Bethany Funky's room. And I believe the exculpatory evidence BF has something to do with Kohlberger. Either he was buying rugs from BF. Yes, I said it, from BF. Her Venmo show it. 2020, 21 to 2022. If not longer, BF. She was selling rugs. COKE. So what was going on in this house? Kohlberger looks like he was under addiction, if you ask me. So did he come to buy rugs? And is he being framed for that? Because he couldn't have done this in 15 minutes. He had no motive. He had no targets. There was no evidence in his car. He was inside the house for what, 13 minutes, 14 minutes? Would he have the time to carve Ethan's legs? Poke Zana 52 times. Poke Kaylee 38 times. 24 major pokes on a head and a face. Unalive Maddie. Torture Ethan. I hate to say that. Would Kohlberger and could Kohlberger have done all this torturing within 13 to 15 minutes? While a dog was barking. Let's not forget that. Murphy was barking. You could hear this on the camera. There was no red liquid of Kohlberger in this house. He couldn't have been so extremely careful with red liquid, with the weapon, and yet again, he forgot a knife sheath. He wouldn't be, imagine, let's picture this, guys. Let's say this is Kohlberger. He goes inside the house, unalives 4 people, looks DM into the eyes. He doesn't touch her. And he knows there's a dog in the house. So let's say he comes to a house that he's never been in his life. And then he starts attacking 4 people. Like Steve said, there was a hell of a fight upstairs. He unalives 4 people. And the neighbors didn't hear? Question mark? Nobody heard it? Strange. The surviving roommates were awake because the transcripts show their phone log. They were texting each other. They were on Instagram, Snapchat, Yik Yak. They were creating numbers like DM. And BF was taking photos. I wonder of who? The 4 victims? Somebody, I believe the suspect or suspects, one of the three unidentified male DNAs, could have been wearing on a body cam or a small cam on his hoodie or whatever, so that he could record the unalivings. That's what I believe, because the pictures were coming from somewhere. That Said was watching. The Hayden at the grub truck, the guy with the long hair, was watching. Jovita was watching. Molly Gray, Liz Cattivage, the sorority sisters of Kaylee, they all were watching those pictures. The crowd yelling Zana, and Ethan's name were watching it too. Let me know what you think. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about Maddie and Bethany Funk. And why is Bethany Funk